everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Dooley Does Food. And I'm your host, Dooley Noted. Super excited for today's episode. A few of you all sounded off in the comments. You sounded off in my DMs and said, hey, Jamel, do you ever make desserts? And I said, you know what? Let's do this. So before we get started with today's episode, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Get into this. All right, y'all. So baking is definitely a labor of love. It's a marathon. She is not a sprint. So let's make sure that we take the time to get our items together before we need them. Waiting 10 seconds, 15 seconds too long to do something while you're baking could completely ruin your dish. Today we're going to be making a black cocoa chocolate cake, buttercream frosting, a black frosting, and a ganache. Yes, you heard me, a ganache. So take a look at these slides, go step by step, and pull out all the ingredients that are listed here. Alright, now that you have all of your items, let's go ahead and get started. First up, we're gonna tackle the frosting. I know that feels a little bit weird, but this bad boy has to cool for at least 3 hours, so let's do that first. Take 1 1/4 cups of milk, put it in a saucepan over medium heat. If you watched the video about the macaroni and cheese, remember me scalding the milk? That's what we're doing here. Gradually whisk the milk so that it doesn't burn. We're gonna heat it until it begins to bubble. That's gonna activate the enzymes in the milk and get it in a position for us to use it the way that we wanna use. When it's finished, set it aside to cool just a smidgen. In the meantime, let's take our 3 large eggs, 1/4 cup of milk, our sugar, our black cocoa powder, cornstarch, and salt, and set them in a medium bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and mix that together, and you'll notice that the mixture will be kind of thick. Take your scalded milk, add it into our thick chocolate mixture, whisk a bit, and then take the complete mixture and put it back on the stove. We're gonna set this at about medium heat. Bring the chocolate mixture to a boil. Ensure that you're constantly whisking it, otherwise it will burn. Once it comes to a boil, cook it for about 45 to 60 more seconds. You'll have to whisk vigorously to bring the mixture to a nice, thick, hot fudge-like consistency. Turn off your heat, pour your mixture into a bowl, cover it with plastic wrap, and put it directly into the fridge. And then we're gonna allow it to chill for 3 to 4 hours. While we wait for our frosting to cool, let's continue and finish our project. First, take 2 9-inch cake pans, oil them. You can either use canola oil or butter to cover the bottom of the pan. And then also take some of the flour and just give a light coating on the pan. This will help ensure that the cake comes out of the pan when it's time for us to assemble our confection. Set those pans aside, preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and then let's make our cake batter. Whisk together your flour, cocoa powder, salt, baking soda, and baking powder in a medium bowl. Make sure everything is evenly mixed and just set it aside just for a few seconds. In a separate bowl, combine your chopped chocolate and instant coffee. You're then going to go ahead and boil some hot water, and when that is boiling, go ahead and mix it with your chocolate and coffee. Whisk together until smooth, and then set aside for about 5 minutes. Next, we gotta find a way to make sure that our cakes are moist, because don't nobody want no dry ass cake. So combine your sour cream, vegetable oil, and vanilla in a measuring cup, and then whisk it until it looks combined. I know it looks a little weird, it looks like curdled milk, but I promise this is necessary and it will come in handy. Alright, I know that was a lot of rigmarole, and y'all are like, Jamil, what is going on? But we are finally at the point where we begin to combine our ingredients to make our batter. Take your 3 large eggs and your 2 cups of sugar, drop them in a large bowl, and put your mixer on about medium speed. We just want to whip them together until they get light and fluffy. It should take no more than 4 or 5 minutes. Next, we're going to take our chocolatey coffee mixture and add it into our sugary egg mixture. But don't be a loser like me and mix the bowl. As I mentioned previously, baking is a marathon and not a sprint. So we will add 1/2 of our mixture, mix, and then add our other half, mix. Then we are going to take our chocolatey flour mixture and our weird curdled milk mixture, and we're going to add it to our bowl. We are going to alternate flour mixture and then curdled mixture. As you're adding it in, make sure that you do it slowly, and you turn up your intensity on your mixer after every addition. This will ensure that there are no unmixed bits of flour or dry ingredients in our concoction. Pour your batter into your oiled pans. Put into your oven that was preheating. Remember, it was 350 degrees. And then we're going to allow it to bake for approximately 35 minutes. I encourage you to check it at the 30-minute mark. You make sure that it's done. If not, go ahead and push it to that 35 mark. Baker's tip: if you're not sure if your cake is done, you can take a toothpick or a fork and put it in the center of the cake. If you pull out your item and it is clean, your confection is done. While she's baking, let's go ahead and take care of our ganache. LOL, hope you got that joke. Anyway, let's take 4 ounces of our semi-sweet chocolate, 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and a teaspoon of coffee. We're gonna go ahead and put that in our double boiler situation here. If you don't have a double boiler proper, you can always boil a pan of water, place a bowl on top of it, And just make sure that the water does not touch the actual bowl that you'll be mixing in, and that will surely do you. Also, I know y'all saw me drop that big ass pat of butter in here. Ignore that, my silly self ran out of heavy cream, so I had to make a substitution. We'll talk about that in another episode. After you complete your ganache, set it aside in a bowl, bring it down to room temperature, and then tuck it in your refrigerator to chill. I do, however, want you to reserve 3 tablespoons. We'll need it for our buttercream. Alright, so now we're going to work on Miss Buttercream. As I previously stated, go ahead and take that 3 tablespoons of the ganache and drop it in your bowl. She'll add the extra little pop to our buttercream, and I knew that flavor would balance off some of the super sweetness of our confectioner sugar here. So yes, add 3 tablespoons to your bowl, then follow up with your 3 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. Mix it on low speed and add in your vanilla. The next step is really important. Remember, baking is a marathon, it's not a sprint. We then need to follow up alternating with our confectioner sugar and our milk. My suggestion is to add 1 cup of your sugar first, mix, add in a tablespoon of your milk, mix, and then repeat. Similar to what we did with the frosting, make sure that you increase the speed of your mixer to help get all of those dry ingredients integrated into the mixture. You want to beat this until it's light, fluffy, airy, and smooth. Think Bella Me Twink, not Dog Pound. By now, your cakes should be done. Pull them out of the oven, set them aside, and let them cool for at least 8 minutes. And then we're gonna go ahead and handle this frosting. As you can see here, our frosting has set. She's nice and cool, so we can start to get work on it. Make sure the frosting is in a microwave-safe bowl, and then put it in the microwave. We just want to take the chill off of this, the aunties say. Set your microwave at about 30 seconds. Let it run its cycle, check the temperature. Once it gets to like a warmness, then we can proceed. It took me about 3 minutes to get this particular quantity of frosting to where I need it to be. Keep an eye on it. You don't want it to be melty, just warm. We're gonna go ahead and reactivate our frosting. Put it in your mixer, mix it at medium for about 3 to 4 minutes. You just want it to get fluffy. We want, all the molecules to start moving a little bit. And then you'll go ahead and drop in your room temperature unsalted butter. As I've said 565,300 times, baking is a marathon, she's not a sprint. So break up your butter into sections and slowly add it across time. I added in about 1 stick, mix, added in another stick, mix, and then added in my final quantity, mix, until I got to the frosting consistency that I wanted. Now that all of the garnishes and side pieces are complete, we can now begin to build our cake. The cake that you set aside about 5 minutes ago, let's bring her back. We need to go ahead and chop off the top part of the cake. As cakes rise in the oven, they have a tendency to dome. And unless that's how you want your cake to look, you gotta make it even. So go ahead and do that to the top and bottom layer. Go ahead and set down your base layer, and then we can start adding our buttercream. Add a generous amount on top of your cake and use a spoon or spatula to even it out, just as I'm doing here. I know my little cake on the side look a little Nemo, but that's okay. She had a little issue coming out the pan, but she's still gonna taste good though. After you finish your buttercream layer, go ahead and add in your black frosting. Listen, y'all, this takes a lot of patience. Be kind to yourself. Move slowly. Add a generous amount to your cake and use your spoon or spatula to apply it. Last but not least, use the same method as previous to add your chocolate ganache. Alright girls, let me give you the tea. Technically, this is all the recipe called for, but as y'all know, you don't just eat with your mouths, you eat with your eyes, girl. We gotta make this, look a little more appetizing. We gotta zhuzh it up.
He needs some milk.
So, I went ahead and threw some hazelnuts on top. I cut up some fresh fruit, strawberries and raspberries to add on top of our cake. In addition to both enhancing the flavor of chocolate, they literally look beautiful. The colors are in stark contrast to the darkness of our cake. But also, who doesn't want to feel luxurious? We drinking strawberries and champagne. Go ahead and put it on your cake. Add a little bit of Martha Stewart, a little culinary and artistic inspiration, and boom, there you go, a beautiful chocolate cake. Get into it. What did you all think about that? Was that cake not popping? I'm so excited. It came out so beautifully. Like, the layers were great. The flavorings was popping. Each of those layers really brought something different. Like, I showed up and I showed the hell out, y'all. Like, kind of feeling myself. Anyway, thank you for watching this episode of Dooley Does Food. Once again, my name is Dooley Noted. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully y'all are doing great. Have a great day. Have a great month. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.